Today, we're going to dive into a feature that can literally make or break a new piece of tech, backward compatibility. It's this really fascinating concept that shapes the devices we use every single day, and honestly, in ways we don't even realize. So, let's pull back the curtain on this hidden force in technology.
Come on, I think we've all been there, right? You unbox a brand new, shiny console, but you just can't shake the feeling of wanting to play that one classic game from your childhood. That feeling, that desire to bring your old library forward with you is the absolute heart of what we're talking about today.
Okay, so let's put an official name on it. Backward compatibility, at its core, is just the ability of a new system to play nice with the old stuff. Whether we're talking about software, accessories, or data, it's all about making sure the past has a place in the present.
And on the flip side, when a company decides to just cut ties with the past, that's what we call breaking compatibility. And this is a deliberate choice, for sure. As we're going to see, it comes with a whole bunch of costs and consequences, both for the company and for us.
Now, you might be thinking this is all about video games, but nope, the concept is absolutely everywhere. It's a fundamental part of engineering and design that you interact with all the time, even if you don't notice it.
Let's start with a really cool, almost invisible example, your car radio. When FM radio introduced stereo sound, they had a huge problem on their hands. How could they possibly broadcast in stereo without making millions of older, mono-only radios totally useless overnight? Well, the solution was nothing short of genius.
This is just such a clever piece of engineering. Instead of making all those old radios obsolete, they basically hid the new stereo information inside a signal that the old devices couldn't even see. The old radio just plays the standard broadcast, completely unaware, while the new stereo receiver knows how to find that extra data and create a full stereo soundscape. It's a perfect compromise that let innovation happen without leaving anybody behind.
And that right there, that idea brilliantly illustrates the core philosophy that powered the entire personal computer revolution, building on the past instead of just erasing it. And that principle has an absolutely incredible legacy, as we're about to see.
Just look at this timeline for a second. The architecture inside the computer you're using right now can trace its family tree all the way back to the Intel 8086 from 1978. And IBM's mainframes? They go back even further, to 1964. This unbroken chain is a monumental feat of engineering, making sure that critical software written decades ago could, in theory, still run today. It's kind of mind-blowing.
But yeah, it's not always a straight line. Sometimes compatibility is, well, it's complicated. Take the Nintendo Wii. The first models were an absolute dream for Nintendo fans, fully compatible with the old GameCube games and controllers. But later on, to cut costs, Nintendo quietly started removing those features, basically breaking compatibility within the very same product line.
So this brings us to the central conflict of our whole story. Why on earth do companies go through the enormous effort and expense to support the past? Well, it turns out the benefits can be massive. Well, for starters, it's a huge selling point. It tells customers, hey, that library of games and software you already own, it still has value. And that builds incredible brand loyalty. It also really helps a new console get through its launch, when there might not be that many new games to play. And beyond the business side of things, it preserves our shared cultural history.
And here's the really wild part. This quote from way back in 1998 shows that even people who never actually use the feature, they still think it's incredibly important just to know it's there. It's like a psychological safety net. It's the comfort of knowing you could play your old games, even if you never actually do.
And we don't have to look far for a perfect example of this. The PlayStation 2 could play the entire library of original PlayStation games, right out of the box. This was an absolute killer feature, and it's widely credited as a major reason the PS2 became one of the best-selling consoles of all time.
And this isn't just some nostalgia trip for old-timers. Get a load of this. In a recent report, Microsoft revealed that players on modern Xbox consoles have spent over 1 billion hours playing older games. 1 billion! That's not some niche audience. That's a massive, active community showing that the past is still very, very much in demand. But okay, if it's so great, why doesn't everybody do it all the time? Well, that's because looking backward comes with a very real and often very steep price tag. For one thing, maintaining compatibility is expensive. Sometimes it literally means you have to put a whole second computer, an older one, inside the new machine. That adds cost, makes things way more complex, and can lead to years of engineering headaches. And maybe more importantly, it can act like an anchor, holding back innovation and forcing engineers to make compromises just to support old standards, instead of just moving forward.
And sometimes, even the best-laid plans just completely fall apart. The Super Nintendo was originally designed to be backward compatible with the old NES. I mean, Nintendo chose a specific CPU just for this purpose. But as the rest of the console's design came together, the plan just proved technically impossible and had to be scrapped late in development. A really costly and frustrating lesson in just how hard this stuff can be.
So, where does that leave us? We've got this constant battle, right, between the value of the past and the massive pull of the future. It really is a strategic tug of war. On one side of the rope, you've got preservation, customer loyalty, and the promise of a nice, smooth transition. And on the other side, you have innovation, lower costs, and the freedom to build something totally new, without being tied down by old decisions. So, here's the real takeaway. Backward compatibility isn't just another bullet point on the back of a box. It's a complex, high-stakes business and engineering decision that says a lot about a company's entire philosophy, about its products, and about its customers. And that leaves us with one last thing to chew on. In a world where technology moves faster and faster every year, the pressure to break from the past is only going to get stronger. So what happens to our digital history, our games, our software, our data, when we finally decide it's just not worth the cost to bring it along for the ride? What do we risk losing forever?